What's going on, Elevation Nation? We are back with another episode of Fortitude in 15. It is Thursday, October 31st. Sam, first of all, happy Halloween to you, brother.
Happy Halloween. It's a spooky day.
It's a spooky Fortitude in 15. You know why it's spooky?
Because it's Halloween.
No, that is a cop-out
Damn.
answer, Sam. I'll give you
Damn.
one more try.
Because I'm moving on Halloween.
That is spooky. That's weird.
Spooky.
Interesting.
Spooky move.
You're going to be in a place without any furniture, and then you're going to go to another place with pretty much no furniture, and you're going to have to live in that place. How do you feel about that?
We got a lot of furniture already set up, so I am way ahead of you, my friend.
Okay,
We're good.
That's good.
We're great.
Well, that's good news because you're elevating on Halloween, because I know your new podcast studio is going to be very different than your current podcast studio, which I'm very excited for.
I'm glad you're excited. Next time, you'll see it. Looking forward to it. Parker, What do we want to talk about this week, man? We had quite the busy week. I need a nap. I was up at 4:15 a.m. driving you to the airport this morning as you did a horrible job navigating per usual. Snapped at me because you didn't have your coffee. Yelled at me.
Nope.
Weren't helpful. Didn't say thank you. The usual, you know.
I navigated us to Chick-fil-A at 6 a.m. in the morning, and I also want to say that you were up an hour before we needed to be up. I heard you. Walking around, making a lot of noise, and for that, I'm very tired. But we're going to recap Camp Collab in just a bit, our time in Atlanta. First, Sam, there is something big happening in the United States in the coming week. Do you remember what that is? It's
the election.
Everywhere. Oh, I'm glad you got it.
Thanks,
I'm really
man.
happy that you know about the election coming up.
Thanks. I voted already.
I'm sure you know the election is coming. Tuesday, obviously, a very important day in American history. And, we don't want to sit here and talk politics. Certainly not going to pick a side on the political spectrum. But something came up, and I want to talk about this with you, Sam, because we debated this while we were preparing for our workshop yesterday. Are you able to be as loud and opinionated about politics if you don't vote at all?
Yeah, it's a free country. You can do whatever you want.
Of course. You can talk. But, there's something about, some people who are very willingly not going to vote, but they are the loudest and the proudest about their political policies and their opinions on their economic matters and who should be president and whatnot. But yet, they don't go vote.
Well, I would challenge you and say, I don't think people find their own research or facts either. I don't think people actually do a lot of work to educate, myself included. I don't like politics. I don't get into politics very much. It's not something I enjoy researching or doing, ironically, because I live in D.C. So I'm probably not as educated as I should be on the matter. But I also don't yell from the rooftops my thoughts because I don't know everything. I know what's shared with me on TikTok and what commercials are thrown in my face. But besides that, it's hard to do your own research. You can go to candidates' websites and you used to be able to see what they stood for exactly, but a lot of it has twists and turns, and it is certainly getting more and more difficult to navigate policy.
It definitely is more difficult, and I think that's kind of my point, is that people are, talking and reading things on the internet, whether it's real, fake, truth, or false. People have their own opinions. The thing that I was a little bit frustrated with is, of course, I'm going to go vote. That is an American duty. I feel like that is a responsibility of a citizen in a sense. But I just don't understand. I've had conversations with more than a few people who saying, it doesn't matter. My vote doesn't matter. I live in a state that's not a swing state. It's already decided. But yet they talk a lot about politics, and they have their very strong opinions about one candidate or the other, but yet they're not going to go vote. And so the thing I said to you yesterday, it was hypothetically speaking, they don't vote. and their candidate wins, the one that they're supporting. Loud and proud. This is great. Their candidate loses, and now it's even more anger and even more fuel into the fire and continue criticism for the next 4 years. It's almost a cop-out because they weren't sitting with a ballot and actually looked those two candidates on paper and said, you know what, I'm going to support that candidate. That is Parker Yablon's mark. And that means nothing for anyone else besides you as a person, you as a citizen. You vote knowing that you support that candidate. And so the next 4 years, you support the actions that are going to occur within the next 4 years. And I just think it's a cop-out to say, I'm not going to vote because my vote doesn't matter. Screw that. That is the worst cop-out.
But statistically speaking, it doesn't matter, right?
I'm not talking about statistics. I'm not talking about a vote count. I'm not talking about the Electoral College. I'm not talking about the popular vote. I'm talking about you as an American citizen doing your duty and selecting who you think should be the president of the United States so that at least for you, whether that person is good, bad, or everything in between, you at least made a decision as a mature American.
Can I ask you a question?
What's up?
When was the last time you voted in a non-presidential election?
I don't vote every year. I vote every 2 years. So
why don't you vote?
Presidential election, and then
Okay.
I vote in the other midterm elections. Right? And I think that's a lot of people. Obviously, most people only vote every 4 years. A lot of people don't vote at all. I think the minority of people vote every single year for their local officials, right?
Yeah, certainly rarer, which is ironic because I think it has more of a direct impact on your day-to-day, your
100%.
local officials.
Local government.
But yet, we don't
government.
research it. I mean, you love the government, Parker. You absolutely adore it. And yet, we don't probably pay as much of attention to local politics. It's interesting. I mean, listen, for me, I have a totally different take. It's not about yelling from the rooftops and sharing who you want, or I don't get mad about that. Everyone can yell. Everyone can talk. You don't have to vote.
Totally.
In my opinion, it doesn't matter. So I don't have the same perspective as you. I hear where you're coming from, but that's not what I hang my hat on. What I hang my hat on is at some point, many people couldn't vote. And so for me, that's a privilege and not something that I take for granted. And whether I skip certain positions because I'm uneducated on them and don't want to vote for that or don't feel comfortable voting for a certain role, I still want to exercise my right to mail in a vote, go to the polls, do whatever it is because I don't take that for granted. I know many people fought very hard to get that right. And I think it's a really cool part of my civic duty as an American, just like jury duty. Thought it was really cool when I did jury duty. Went in, got my little jury badge and sat there and did the whole thing, and I think it's cool. I think that's part of being an American, and certainly learned a lot about it in U.S. history, and wanted to exercise my civic duty as a over 18-year-old human being in the United States.
I think that's kind of where I was going to go, but thank you for explaining that. We are American. We have that as our civic duty, and people fought for that, and there are places in the world where you as a citizen don't even get that opportunity. And so when you are loud and proud about your opinions but don't exercise that freedom that we have to vote, it's very hypocritical, I think, in a sense.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And so, I mean, it's obviously going to be interesting all over the country in the next couple weeks. I certainly can speak on behalf of the District of Columbia that many things shake up around here during election time because so many people. Thank you. I am moving much closer to the Capitol, so that should be interesting. But yeah, I think it's a cool part about being in DC is you obviously have a lot of friends and people that you know that work for both administrations, and things shake up. And whether you like it or not, whether it stays the same or changes, that's a beautiful part of our democracy and something that makes America America. And that's why I love being in DC and not being in politics, because I just roll with the punches.
Literally, as you get punched at boxing class.
Elevator shout out. I want to give one.
Wait, elevator shout out? Already?
Yeah, why? All right, you got more to say on the election?
I thought we were going
I
to
think we should save it. I can't do it in 4 minutes. I think it needs its own episode. We should do it next week. There's so much I want to share. I don't want to rush it. I want to save it.
Fine. We won't talk politics next week. We talk voting this week, as it's more important to encourage people to vote before the voting ends. Next week, we will recap Camp Collab, our time down in Atlanta at a staffing conference for summer camps. It was really sweet. We got to keynote a session as well. All right, let's do the elevator shout-outs. Who you got?
I got elevator number 56, someone who works within politics, so fitting for our episode, and it was his birthday yesterday. Matthew McPartlin, working for our trusty, handy-dandy United States government in the State Department, helping the U.S. manufacture more powerful microchips for our technology. Thank you, Matt, for your
Commerce Department.
What did I say?
You said State Department.
Yeah, I was wrong. Commerce. I'm sorry. Rob Wilson works in the State Department. Matt works in Commerce. I'm sorry, Matt. I know that. Helping manufacture our microchips in the U.S. So thank you for your civic duty as an American. We salute you. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Matt. We salute you. All right. My elevator shout-out is for elevator number 159, Jordan Leonard, the co-founder of Coach Corner. And if you know their story, they built this entire platform to help high schools and colleges find coaches for youth sports. And they went to London on a whim to get into, what was it, Techstars, Sam? Is that right? And they did it, and they're back. And I just want to give them a shout out because they're continuing to grind away to build their business. But also, they've been doing some really fun, exciting social media content. I think we got to take a little page out of their playbook, Sam, because they had some.
I loved the coaches bumping into each other.
Yeah,
it was incredible.
It was like a scene they created. I felt like I was watching SNL or something. It was great.
It was so good. Absolutely love it. Incredible elevator shout outs. Keep on grinding. Parker, stay spooky. Exercise your civic duties as an American. And until next week, Elevation Nation. Peace. Boo.
Boom.